Ask almost any 6 or 7-year-old to tell you about Woody or Buzz Lightyear, and you'll think you're hearing a story about one of their trusted friends. These animated characters were born in this corporate playground known as Pixar, and here employees are free to unleash their childlike energies and magic. And they create these heartfelt stories that are told from child to adult, adult to child for generations. Pixar came onto our radar screen in about 1995 as we were researching The Disney Way, our first book. And we watched this rather obscure Northern California studio rise from what began as what would seem to be just a technical subcontractor to Disney to virtually replacing Disney Animation in the early 2000s, and then being purchased by the Disney Corporation in 2006 for a cool $7.4 billion. If you were to visit their studios, it looks more like a playground than it does a professional studio. You may see people riding around on scooters like I rode in on, playing pinball or playing foosball, or swimming in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. So what makes this wacky place so successful? Walt was once asked what the secret to his success was. And he said he didn't know how much of a secret it was, but before he would start any new project, he would think of 4 things. He would dream of ways of doing business that have never been done before. He would test those dreams against his beliefs and values in his organization. He would dare to take the risk to make those dreams come true. And lastly, he put plans together so those dreams do become a reality. Those 4 principles are alive and well at Pixar. To dream like a child, to believe in your playmates, to dare to jump in the water and make waves, and do unleash your childlike potential. It all starts with a dream. And remember when we were children, the truth lived in our imagination. We could be anything. We could be the superhero, the princess, the knight in shining armor. But soon parents and teachers and bosses, chase that little child right out of our minds. But those childhood dreams are resilient, and they remain in the deepest caverns of our minds. Where did all the creativity go? So instead of just tweaking your current product, your current service, your current business process, you need to destroy it, zap it, start all over again. And put yourself in the seat of a director. And think of yourself as a director of a play. And if you were a director of a play, there would be 4 elements that you would be most concerned about. The first would be story. The second would be the setting. The third would be the roles for the cast. And the fourth would be the backstage processes. It all begins with the story. And everything Disney does and Pixar does, it's all around about the story. And the importance of the story goes back all the way to 1954 when Walt was building Walt Disney World. And he called this construction manager and he said, I want you to build the castle first. And the construction manager said, well, Walt, it's not cost effective to build the castle first. We should build some of these other facilities first. And Walt says, I don't care what it costs, build the castle first. Because I want everybody on this project to see and feel the fantasy that we're trying to create here. So what's your dream? What are your customers' dreams? What story are you trying to tell? What mood are you trying to put your customers in? Stop just meeting customer expectations and start solving customer problems and fulfilling their dreams. Walt Disney World and Disneyland is not a resort and a theme park. It's being able to be Peter Pan or Cinderella and get away from the real world for a day or 2 or 3 or more. It's a fantasy taking place in front of your very eyes. It's a larger-than-life experience. You need to create that same emotional connection with your people, your product or service, and your customers. Speed of change. Fail forward fast. Have a Screw Up of the Month award. Celebrate failures with the same intensity and vigor that you do successes. I quote a gentleman from Australia. His name is Phil Daniels in Innovate the Pixar Way. I just love what he says about failure. He says he celebrates colossal failures and he punishes mediocre successes. And lastly, dream big. At your next team meeting, think of 10 over-the-top, wacky, eccentric ideas that you can do to improve your process, your product, or your service. And if your team can't think of 10 ideas, maybe there are too many fun squelchers in your organization. And I think if Walt were to come back today, he'd be proud of the company that he inspired and be proud that that company now is part of the Disney organization. But few people know of Ed Catmull and his leadership abilities. And I don't think anyone but myself has compared his leadership role to that of Walt's. But without their leadership, these great Pixar stories and Disney stories would never be told. Ed said, I really want to make movies that touch people and make a difference. Otherwise, what are we doing here? So remember, dream like a child. Believe in your playmates. It's all about collaboration. Dare to jump in the water and make waves. Try something wacky. Don't be afraid to fail. But learn from those failures. And do unleash your childlike potential and magic.